What is going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. So I thought we would take the time today to basically talk about Black Panther and the DLC as a whole, essentially a kind of what we know so far style of video. Now here's the thing, Miller posted something on his Twitter regarding Black Panther and essentially one of his special moves, and well, it has a lot of people thinking something completely different, so I thought we would basically just break that down alongside all the info that we know as of right now about this DLC, because we all know it's definitely going to be one of their biggest DLCs for a long time, at least in my opinion anyway. Now, two things before I dive into the video. The first one you guys might be familiar with, but it is that I am co-hosting on a second channel called Profited, and it's basically just regarding entrepreneurship, side hustles, investing, how to start businesses, etc, etc. So if that is of your interest, I'd really appreciate if you guys check out that channel. The link will be in the description below. The second thing is that, as always, check out Instant Gaming. They do a bunch of new games for a really cheap price. So go ahead and check them out. As always, drop a like on this video, hit that big red subscribe button below if you haven't already, and let's dive into this video. So the first one I want to kick it off with, should I say, is what Miller posted on Twitter. Now this has actually sparked a lot of curiosity and a few people have been sending it to me, but I just basically wanted to clarify what the situation here is, because at first I did actually think the same, but when you look more into this you find out what it is. So first of all, it is a energy daggers as a whole, energy daggers, not energy dagger, but what it says here is Black Panther's weapon, and it shows a special. Now it says choose a player, deal 1 damage to the villain and to each enemy engaged with that player, and then you got 2 damage instead if this is the final step of this sequence, and then it says play the Wakanda Forever event to use this ability. Now naturally, of course, a lot of people just straight away assumed that hey, this is something to do with Marvel's Avengers, but unfortunately that is not the case. Miller did literally say that it's something he just pulled off a Google image search, and I believe there was someone said that this is in Marvel's Champions, which I believe is a mobile game, and if you're into your cards and all that kind of stuff, then it's definitely a game worth checking out. But what's interesting with this, because of course you can kind of see where a lot of people went with this, and the first thing is on Twitch Miller does stream, and apparently at one point he did actually state that Black Panther will have daggers. So again, kind of like a no-brainer, but when it goes down to, I guess, like a weapon of choice, or a melee weapon of choice, I guess you could say, we don't know if that's going to be something we can kind of, I guess, just mix and match. I think that'll be really cool if you can have those daggers, or if you don't, but again, we'll have to wait and see. So besides this stuff, besides knowing what the melee weapon is, besides also knowing that one of the skins were leaked, and this was a file that was in the game files that Miller did leak. Again, for legal reasons I cannot show that, but it was a suit that a lot of people weren't feeling because it wasn't the standard suit, or I guess you could say the most popular suit that we see, of course, in the films, etc. But it's a no-brainer that that will also definitely be a suit. So far we've had one suit leaked, we've had the weapons leaked. In terms of the abilities though, we've not had any of that stuff leaked. Although what we're talking about with what Miller posted regarding Marvel Champions, right, I guess that could actually be something implemented in Marvel's Avengers for this character. Again, we'll still have to wait and see, but it does make sense. But a big thing that's going to be with Black Panther's DLC, which is the highlight of it all in my opinion, is of course that it's not just a character that's going to be added to the game, it's a whole, essentially like a, I guess you could say we basically might as well just call every DLC a mini expansion, because they all have their own individual stories. We know that Black Panther, more or less like a 95% chance, is coming straight after Hawkeye. We also were told yesterday, if you didn't see in my community tab, that the devs are working on new objectives in the new year, so we'll basically have fun new ways to play the game. But on top of that, we were also told that there's going to be a big reveal, as to which we all kind of came to the mutual decision that hey, that's definitely just going to be Hawkeye's DLC. So putting all that stuff aside, we know that Black Black Panther is going to be next. All of that stuff is going to be huge. But one of the biggest thing is the Wakanda raid. Now, a while back, this was I think it was stated by Phil, right? If I'm not mistaken, on a stream. And basically, it was all about the Wakanda raid. If it wasn't Phil, it might have been Miller. I don't know. This is just going off my notes that I've had for a very, very long time. But in a nutshell, the Wakanda raid is a raid, right? And we were kind of getting that confusion, you know, with the cloning lab essentially being a mini raid, which it actually is. But I remember Miller stating that if we call it a raid, people will think that raids are smaller scales than other games, if that makes sense. But they would basically much like what would have happened for instance, Substation Zero, right? If that had been in operation, that's basically what the cloning lab essentially would have been, and then alongside the Wakanda raid. But the actual raid as a whole is going to be the Wakanda raid. This is the big thing, because this is a brand new, I guess you can, well, it is, I don't even think you can, I wouldn't really say I guess you can call it, because it literally is a brand new game mode, right? So the Wakanda raid is what's going to be the official raid, and that's something that we've not even seen any footage of, right? We've not seen any teasers in terms of information on that besides knowing that it's a raid. So I mean, our ideas and kind of visualization for this has to be very vague. But what we do know, again, and this is going back to Miller, right? Because Miller has basically just been the god when it comes down to Black Panther's DLC stuff, because he knows it's a character that a lot of us are really excited for. So remember a while back, I'm assuming you guys are going to remember anyway, that he did actually drop the Wakanda location. And again, for legal reasons and for Square Enix not to come after me, it's probably a good idea I do not show that, so I can't do that. But it's basically just a Wakanda, right? I mean, you guys know how the area is, and that's basically that. I believe it was like concept art that was in the game files. Again, when it comes down to a location, possibly like a thumbnail for that area, I'm guessing that's what that would have possibly been. But so far, that's all we literally know about Black Panther's DLC, alongside actually a very, very important one, because unfortunately, of course, with Chadwick Boseman passing away, which took the world by complete surprise, we then had in a War Table stream, when it came down to, of course, revealing Kate Bishop, also taking into consideration that they were really building up the character reveal, I believe, a week before, right? And they were saying how we will definitely want to tune in and all that kind of stuff. And even though Kate Bishop's a great DLC character, it's not really a DLC character everyone would have really need to tune in for, because let's be honest, not a lot of people do actually care. So a character would have been Black Panther, and then of course we found out on stream that they said they basically had to switch what they were showing, and they done a rest in peace message for Chadwick Boseman, which was really cool. But at that moment in time, we basically knew that they were gearing up for the reveal for Black Panther's expansion, or DLC, whatever you want to call it. So that's all we quite literally know at this moment in time. Now we're going to have to wait until January, but I do think that come January, with Hawkeye's DLC, with a new trailer being dropped, I'd imagine, that's when we're going to have so much more information. And when I say information, I'll probably say teasers, right, in the DLC for Black Panther, and then we'll kind of be able to put pieces of the puzzle together and go from there. But guys, that's going to wrap up this video here. As always, subscribe for more awesome content if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one. Till then, have yourselves a ridiculously amazing day, and adios amigos.